Gene therapy, a topic that's headlining a lot of articles nowadays, but most people don't even know how it originated. I mean, where, who invented it? Well, 1856 Austria, also the Czech Republic today. In the late 1800s, you could have been in the coal mines or catching the plague or some kind of disease, or rocking these sideburns. What is a choice? But we're talking about Gregor Mendel, yes. German born, Austrian, and the father of genetics. We didn't even know his work existed until like 30 years. 30! That's a whole middle-aged man. The essence of his experiment was to find out more about heredity, which farmers didn't know about before, but he was the first to copyright it, using a pea plant. Yes, his experiment essentially was planting multiple pea plants at the same time. Why, you might ask? Well, because they're versatile. It's also because he wanted to conduct multiple experiments, which required him to plant multiple plants to prove it. Because pea plants can be tall, like these, or short. They could also be, the peas could also turn out to be wrinkly or round. They could be green, they could be yellow. That's how we got chickpeas. And they produce a lot of offsprings. So essentially his experiment was to, as I said, prove heredity. So what he did was he first purebred the tall plants with tall plants to create more tall plants, short plants with short plants to create more short plants. Step 2 of the experiment was to proceed to create a crossbreed between the tall plants and the short plants, which is how we now come to Mendel's 3 laws of dominance and recessive. Because when he did breed the tall plants with the short plants, 75 of the plants were tall, and while the other 25% were short, making the short plants, the short trait, a recessive trait in the plant. So this then leads us to Mendel's 3 laws of heredity. The law of dominance, that some alleles are dominant and they cover up the recessive alleles, which is what we saw in the plants over here. So like, for example, if you give a tall plant and a short plant, you breed them together, and it's most likely going to give you a tall plant because the tall allele is. And then we come to segregation, which is when an organism has 2 alleles, right? But it can only pass on one, which means if it has like a green and yellow allele, like one recessive and one dominant, it can only pass one, which means it could either make the plant give yellow peas or green peas. And lastly come like independence, and the law of independence, which is basically when a chromosome, like an allele, says that the plant has a tall gene, that does not mean the plant also has yellow peas. Each trait is passed down. That was what pea plants. Yes. Thank you.